you just couldn't let it lie.
He's my nemesis.
You couldn't let it lie.
He's my nemesis. I've got to defeat him. Elon Musk and Trump will fall out this year. So if Farage now can change his tune a little bit and stop attacking Tommy Robinson and stop attacking people who support Tommy Robinson. I'm not saying Tommy Robinson should join Reform UK. Over 5,000 men in England and Wales every year kill themselves.
Really? Gentle listeners, welcome to episode 70 of The Mayor and I, with I, Lindsay Khan, and the Mayor, Nick Buckley, MBE. Have you still got your MBE, Nick? So I know people are trying to take it off you.
I have for the moment. The clip we did about us laughing about that did really well. I had so many comments going, I spat my tea out listening to that. It was the funniest thing I've seen. That was like a proper comedy duo, that one was.
So despite the attempts of people to take his MBE off it, Nick still holds on to that. And we're episode 70 of The Mayor and I. Yep. Where we discuss what's happening in the world today, and a lot is happening in this new year.
It is.
So this is the new year now, 2025, the second episode of 2025, and because it is 2025, Nick, I thought it would be good if we did some predictions for 2025. So I think the way we'd like to do this, if that's okay, is if you take us through your top 5 predictions first, or possibly top 6 predictions first, then I'll kind of chip in with my thoughts, and obviously I think what we have to do in this is try and consider things in a broader context rather than specific kind of, rather than be selfish about these predictions and involve things that we want to happen personally. I think we should be big about it, I mean, I've got no insight into what you're going to talk about, so
I disagree. I think we need to have specifics, real targets that we know if we've achieved our prediction of not wishy-washy generalisations.
Well, yes, but I think my approach to that, Nick, is that, our gentle listeners may not be fully up to speed on all aspects. We talk all the time, so we know we're fairly contemporary in terms of our knowledge, but some of our gentle listeners may be here for the first time, we hope. May have just subscribed, and it'd be useful to have an overview. I think
you're egging the pudding a bit
because I felt that in the heroes and villains of 2024 you were a little bit too self-centered, but anyway, I'm sure
I can do better this time.
If you don't mind.
It upsets me when I let you down.
No, it's fine. I'm used to it.
My first one then is the same.
This is for clarity. This is number 5.
Number 5.
We're counting down.
Yeah.
Okay.
So number 5 will be the same one I had several months ago, which is Keir Starmer won't last. I thought he'd be gone by this Christmas just gone. I'm now saying he'll be gone this year. I think once we get to the local elections in May, they're going to do so poorly that other people in the Labour Party, all his MPs, will be going, right, that's my seat gone at the next general election. We can see direction of travel. He's part of the problem. He's not all the problem, he's part of the problem. We need someone more charismatic, someone without the baggage, and I think they'll be looking for a new leader. And many of them in the Houses of Commons will be going, this is my time to jump here to try to get that top position. So I don't think he'll last a year. I think he'll get through the council elections, and then there'll be internal fighting until they get rid of him.
Well, I don't want to rain on your parade.
Yeah.
Nick, but one of my predictions is Starmer will not resign in 2025. I think he will cling on for grim death to that role.
He will try to cling on, and when we say resign and we mean politicians, we don't mean resign how me and you would resign from a job. Resigning when you're a politician is everyone around you has told you, we're kicking you out. You either resign or we kick you out. Everyone then takes the resignation.
So he will be resigned.
He will be,
what you're saying. So he will come out and say, I'm resigning, but in fact it will be pressure from his politicians.
Exactly.
Yeah. He does seem to keep putting his foot in it constantly, doesn't he? He's such a klutz, because he did that thing in Madeira. He went to Madeira, didn't he? By the way, did you notice his wife wasn't with him?
No.
Oh, okay. I thought you might be interested in that.
No,
given our other predictions.
Yeah, but he jumped the queue. Because security took him to the top of the queue, which many people do that.
Yeah.
But when you're in a death spiral and everything's going wrong, everything just continues going wrong. That's what happened with the Sunak election. Was from announcing it in the rain to leaving D-Day early to do.
Things that may not normally be noticed, because I'm sure there's lots of prime ministers have jumped queues in various things. Well, because I said that to my wife, I said, surely they always do that.
Yeah.
And I think she said, oh no, they don't. But I was thinking,
they do.
I think
security insist on it.
Yeah, but because you're right, he's in a death spiral. Anything he does,
exactly.
And his advisors are just such dunces, aren't they? They can't seem to do it. So, yeah, he does seem to keep putting his foot in it all the time. And he's done it again today, hasn't he? Talking about Elon Musk and referring to the far, trying to pin the grooming gangs on the far right today, because he's such an imbecile. He just hasn't had the brains to understand what's going on all the time. So I think you're right. He's a klutz, and if that happens in May, you're probably right. He will be put under pressure.
Yeah.
But you were wrong about it happening last year, because you kept saying he'd be gone by Christmas.
I did. I just couldn't see how he would last.
Yeah.
But he's got bigger fingernails than I thought he had, because
he is clinging on for dear life.
He is.
Okay, that's an interesting one, and interesting that we disagree on that.
Yes.
Number 4.
Number 4 is, you're not going to like this one. This one's going to upset you a little bit. My prediction for number 4 will be Elon Musk and Trump will fall out this year.
No. It's interesting you say that, because obviously for our gentle listeners, you may be aware that Elon Musk tweeted, I think it was yesterday, he tweeted it all the day before.
I think it was,
Tweeted, because the movies, so much news is happening, it's happening so bloody quick. Tweeted that Farage was not the right man to lead reform, because he was, I can't remember what it said, a week or so.
Too soft or something
not
like
strong
that.
enough or worse to that effect. And that's...
When I read that, I went, this is an Elon Musk fake account.
That's what I thought.
I had to go into Elon Musk, and when you see how many hundreds of millions... That's Elon Musk.
That's what I thought. I thought, is this a fake?
Yeah.
And it's real. And then I immediately thought, as you are kind of pointing out now, how does this affect his relationship with Trump, with Farage? Because we know that Farage and Trump are very close. They have been, don't forget, Farage has supported Trump for years. He was supporting him in the original election. He was there when Trump was massively out of favour. So I think Trump does see Farage as a real ally. And then I saw that from Musk, and I thought, what the hell is going on? I was trying to think, I was trying to do the 4D chess thing. What is going on here? But I think Trump is so sophisticated, and I have a huge admiration for Trump and what he's capable of doing, what he has done. Did you see, by the way, that the Greenland Prime Minister has said to Denmark they want independence?
Oh, right.
Have you seen that?
No.
So Trump has said he wants to annex Greenland, to buy Greenland, basically. And now the Greenland Prime Minister is saying we want to be independent of Denmark. It's like this stuff is happening, isn't it? Yeah. They want to be independent so they can be part of America, presumably. I'm guessing. They must be.
Oh, this is an ongoing thing, like the SNP in Scotland. Maybe they've always wanted independence, and they've used this on the back of Trump saying that to get more publicity, and which is work, because whoever talks about Greenland. Yeah,
but Trump is he's a very sophisticated operator. I don't think he will allow Musk himself and Farage to become distant or fall apart. And I also think Musk is heavily reliant on the US government for support for his businesses.
So Trump and Elon falling out, for me, it's got nothing to do with Farage and Reform UK. I think Elon will start working in the Doge department, and after 6 months, he'll go, I'm leaving now because I can't do what I want to do, because there's always restrictions, and Trump's going, it's political, we're doing so much, but we can't do it. And I think Elon will go, no, I've had enough. This wasn't what I signed up for. And I think they'll have a mini falling out. Don't think they'll become enemies. Don't think they'll attack each other. I think Elon will walk away this year from the Trump project. Elon and Farage, I think, because Elon doesn't need anything off anybody. He's the richest man in the world. I think he says it the way it is. He don't care. And I think he's seen some of the interviews Farage is giving being wishy-washy and too soft and too like the Conservatives, and he's going, this isn't anything like Trump, and this isn't what's going to fix the UK, and he's called them out on it. He may not fall out with Farage over it, because Farage would like Elon.
Yeah.
So I think
he
Farage,
did actually respond and say
we don't always agree.
Extraordinary individual.
Yeah. So he was. He's not going to make.
It was pretty damning, though, as a statement.
It was.
Yeah.
But I think if Elon's going, I need to teach this guy a lesson. He wants my money. He wants me involved, and I'm willing to do all that, but I'm not willing to put up with this crap.
Yeah.
So this is a shot across your bows, Farage, he's saying.
Yeah.
If you want me involved and you want my millions, this is a shot across the bows.
Yeah.
Because I'm not willing to be supporting someone who's slightly better than the Tories.
Yeah. So you think it'll be a repeat of what happened to Richard Branson when he was also brought in by the government to get the streets tidy in the 90s?
Remember this?
It was a very similar situation to what's happening now. Richard Branson was asked by the government, it might be Margaret Thatcher,
right,
to get the streets tidy, one of your little obsessions, Nick. And he did it for about a month and then just gave up, basically. You think it's going to be a repeat of that? Obviously not quite the same scale.
Yeah. Because people like that, Richard Branson, Musk, they're not politicians. They're not willing to do give and take. They're not willing to go, well, it's political, we can't do that for these reasons. They'll go, these reasons are crap reasons, so I ignore them. Where a politician goes, those reasons are votes. So they're not willing to play those games, those political games. Hence why I think there'll be a falling out.
But arguably Trump's like that as well, isn't he?
He is.
He doesn't play political games, really.
I think he does. He's just rewrote the rule book on how you play political games.
Right.
I think he's playing political games all the time. He just wrote his own rule book and said, I'm not playing by your rule book, I'm playing by me. But it's still all political games.
Okay. It does sound a bit vague, though, Nick. I mean, how do we know that will actually happen? How do we know it's happened?
We'll know it happens.
You could say any time, they've fallen out. And I'll say
No. It'll happen because Elon will walk away from the Doge.
All right, okay, fine.
He will come out and say, I've resigned, I can't do what I want to do, I'm not being supported enough, I'm walking away. We will know.
So we've had two very clear binary predictions from you there, haven't we? Starmer resign, Musk walk away from the Doge.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Number 3?
The local elections in May, the winner will be Reform UK. That doesn't mean they're going to win all the seats. It doesn't mean they're going to take over all the councils. What I mean by that is from the 15, 16, 17 councillors they've got at the moment, they're going to go into thousands. Labour's going to be decimated and Tories will either stay the same, but I would imagine Tories will be slightly under what they've got now. Tories won't be decimated again. They've had their punishment beating at the general election. People have beginning to forget about the Tories now and punishing them because Labour need punishing. But I think when you look at the stats coming in, I think it'll be obvious that, wow, look what Reform done at the local elections.
They are a real threat now.
Yeah. If I'm completely wrong on that and they don't do anything, that's the end of Reform UK.
I think you're right. I think if they don't do it in these elections, that's the end of Reform.
That's the end. They've got to build momentum, and if they fizzled out by May, that's the end of them.
And they've been dealt a blow today with Musk. There's no doubt about it. It's definitely a slap in the face.
It's a slap in the face.
It's not mortal, I agree. It's not a mortal wound.
It's not mortal at all. I think it's an insult. If Reform and Farage play this right, that could have been a bonus. So if Farage now can change his tune a little bit and stop attacking Tommy Robinson and stop attacking people who support Tommy Robinson. I'm not saying Tommy Robinson should join Reform UK. That's a different discussion altogether. But this constant demonising Tommy Robinson and his supporters, like when Richard Tice came out and said Tommy Robinson and his ilk.
There's no need for it.
You're criticising people who want to vote for you. And there need to be a party for all patriots in the country. And the way to answer this for Nigel Farage is Reform UK have a rule book, and in that rule book it says no one who's a member of the EDL or BNP can ever join the party. Former member can ever join. Tommy Robinson was a member, so the rule book says he can't join.
He founded it, didn't he?
Yeah, so he can't join.
Yeah. I think that's the point, because when he says Tommy Robinson and his ilk, and I hadn't heard that, by the way, but that's including me.
Yes.
Who's a potential Reform voter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because
it annoys me, and I don't class myself as a Tommy Robinson supporter. I am.
Yeah.
He's done a lot of good work, but he's also extremely flawed.
Yeah.
But when I see him, what it reminds me of is a mainstream politician.
Yeah.
So when Reform UK is saying those things, I'm thinking you sound just like the Lib Dems, the Tories, and the Greens and Labour. You know, you're making me think you're no different from them.
You're heading back to the Uni Party, aren't you? And they need. Ben Habib was saying it today. There needs to be a 180 shift from these crappy parts, the Uni Party, which is Labour and Tory. There needs to be a 180 shift, and part of that is being intelligent about Tommy Robinson. Yeah, he is a flawed character, but he's also, I believe, he's a British hero. He's a political prisoner. I mean, we talk about the grooming gangs being exposed now. He's been going on about that for decades. Decades saying it's been happening. Nobody's believed him. He's been called a racist, and he's carried on because he believes it's the right thing to do for the British people. And today he's been vindicated right now, because we're now finding out the scale of this horrendous grooming, which we talked about in our previous episode. And he is flawed. But Nick, I think you always say to me, a lot of our heroes are flawed, aren't they?
They are all flawed. You know, none of us are gods.
Yeah.
None of us are the people we wish we were.
Yeah.
We're always an inferior version of the person we could be, because we don't spend enough time trying to improve ourselves, because life gets in the way. We're all flawed.
And examples of that, for example, one that springs to my mind immediately, Martin Luther King. A very handsome, good-looking guy.
Yeah.
Great leader, whatever it might be. Apparently he was a prolific adulterer. You probably didn't know that.
I did know that. Prolific adulterer. Then look at some of the others. You know, Nelson Mandela
springs to my mind.
Convicted terrorist.
Yes.
He went to jail for trying to blow up an electric generator somewhere. He planted many bombs. He talks about planting bombs.
Yeah.
His ANC were killing people. They were a terrorist organisation. That's why he went to jail for terrorism. Turns into a great leader, a world statesman. Gandhi, sent to jail many times by the British for breaking the law.
Pederast.
Pardon?
Pederast.
Pederast. What's pederast?
Gandhi. Somebody who likes small children, young children.
Oh, I thought it was a paedophile.
Well, it's a kind of version of that.
Is it? Yeah. But there's rumours about that. I'm not sure if all that's true or not. I don't know.
I think it's true. He did have I think he used to sleep with his niece.
Yeah, so there's... Yeah, so a flawed
allegedly, to control his... Yeah. It's all a bit...
Exactly. So these people are flawed characters.
Che Guevara.
Che Guevara.
In fact, where's his picture, Nick? Because I know you're a big fan of Che. So
Che Guevara is not a hero. But
where's the picture gone? Oh my! I don't know if the viewers can see that.
No, they can't see that. I put in there 'cause I'm sick of people calling me a socialist.
If you could turn up for the next episode wearing a beret and a moustache, Nick, I think that would just prove your affiliate.
Yes. So I could be Che Guevara by being racist and shooting dead homosexuals. So that's what he did. But Farage needs to take a leaf out of Trump's book, which is stop trying to be the man mainstream media want you to be. Stop playing their game, because that's what this is about. That's why they keep attacking Tommy Robinson, because the mainstream media will say, oh, you don't attack Tommy Robinson, you're the racist like we said you were. He should come out and spit in their face and laugh in their face and go, Tommy Robinson is a flawed man, but I tell you what, he's done more to expose the grooming gang scandal than anybody else. And for that one thing, I admire him.
Yes.
But everything else, lots of other things I disagree with.
Yeah.
But for one thing, I think he's done who can disagree with that? Because he did do that.
Yeah. So he keeps Tommy Robinson's supporters on side.
Yes.
But he keeps Tommy Robinson out of the party, which is fine.
Yeah, but at the moment, what he does is keep Tommy Robinson out of the party and spit in the face of people who think Tommy Robinson's done a good job.
Because that sort of commentary, like Tommy Robinson is ill right wing, but that is exactly what the bloody Uni Party do all the time, isn't it?
And that's exactly what they say about Farage.
Yes, correct.
So Farage should know the lies, because he's a racist and everything else they accuse him of.
Yeah.
He should say to them, what do you mean racist? He's not a racist. If anything, you're the racist.
Don't you have a word in, Nigel?
I need to.
Can you email him? Because you've got his email and his phone number, haven't you?
He don't reply to me anymore.
Have you got his phone? You can text him.
I don't think I have, no.
Just WhatsApp him.
But he's got a lot.
I would write. He
I just hope the Mustang takes him down a path to reevaluate what he's doing.
Reflect on it. Yeah.
What am I doing, Gabe? And he needs to be brave. He needs to take chances, and he needs to look at Trump. Trump didn't kowtow to the press. He laughed in their faces, and every time they attacked him, he became more popular. That's exactly what Farage should do, but the English version of that.
Yeah, but what he needs to understand, and Nigel, if you're watching this, and I'm sure you are an avid watcher of the Mayor and I, if you're watching this, the British people no longer respect the mainstream media. They don't respect the papers, they don't respect the BBC. Nobody watches this crap anymore or believes a single word of it. So if you lay into them, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. And 40% of the population don't even vote. You could win the general election just on the people who don't vote. And the majority of them are Tommy Robinson supporters. The majority of them don't want the status quo, don't want the mainstream media telling them who they are and what to do. There's a whole sway of people out there who could come on side with Reform UK. If they stopped attacking someone that there's no need to attack.
And it's raised the ire of Musk as well, hasn't it?
Yes.
Very good. Number 3.
Number 3.
Sorry, we're number 3 or number 2 now?
This is number 2.
Number 2.
The next one is a gobby cow, who I don't necessarily I don't like her, and it's Jess Phillips.
Oh yes,
MP for Birmingham.
Yes, who's really in the middle of it at the moment.
She is, and that's why she's on my list as predictions, because I don't think she'll either do a U-turn on this inquiry or she'll resign. That's her only 2 options. She'll do a U-turn because she'll realise she's been dealt a poison chalice here, because Oldham Council didn't want to do an inquiry. Oldham Council were forced into asking government for an inquiry because they lost councillors at the last local elections, and Labour were going to lose power of Oldham Council. So they did a deal with some independents, and the deal was, we'll support you so you can keep control, but we need a public inquiry into the grooming gang scandal. So they've had to agree to that. They've now approached government and said, we want this, and government said, no, you can't have it. So Oldham Council have gone, thank God for that.
God for that, yeah.
That's exactly the answer we wanted, because now we keep control of the council. The independents are happy that we tried to get one, and we never wanted one, and we're not getting one. And I reckon Oldham Council spoke to Starmer and the Labour Party and said, we're going to have to ask for this, but you need to say no. Because if we do a public inquiry here, none of us are going to like what comes out of this. And this is enough to bring down the Labour government and ruin the party forever. You have to say no. So Jess Phillips was told, just say no to them. She said no, and this is all kicked off.
So she's had the hand on the shoulder, Jess, when they come and ask you.
Just say no. Yeah. Not knowing the backlash that was
assuming
coming.
It would just be washed over and nobody would think about it.
Exactly. Now, for people who don't know who Jess Phillips is, for years now, she's been going on about violence against women and girls.
Have you met her, by the way?
No. Good for her. You know, who wants violence against women and girls?
Yeah.
She never talks about boys and men. They're allowed to be assaulted and abused. No one cares about them. She cares about... So she's half right, and I'm glad she's doing half the job. She also stands up in Parliament every year and reads out the names of the women killed by their partners and husbands.
I bet the other members of Parliament dread that.
It does. It goes on and on and on.
Be like, oh, for God's sake.
She never reads out the names of the men killed by their partners.
There's not many men are killed by their partners.
Exactly. So it'd take her 3 seconds. But she doesn't even read their names out because she doesn't care about men.
Well, a list that should be read out. Maybe you can do it when you get to be the Prime Minister. Is a list of men who have committed suicide in the year.
We wouldn't have time. Over 5,000 men in England and Wales every year kill themselves.
Really?
Yeah.
I knew it was a lot. I didn't realise that.
5,000.
That would take a long time.
Exactly. But no one cares about men. But she's always going on about grooming gangs protecting women and girls, and you know, and rightly so, because women and girls do need protecting. But the second she's in power, and the second she has a chance to protect women and girls, she then says, oh no, No. And the reason why she says no is because she can see that greasy pole. She's been told, say no or I'm getting rid of you, or say no and promotions are coming up. So she's done it for the wrong reasons, and it's all backfiring now.
And I mentioned in our last thing, she said in Jan 24, next time any government minister tells you violence against women and girls is a priority, don't believe them, they don't give a toss.
Well, she was 100% right, wasn't she?
100% right. So you think she's either going to say, I'm not having this, there's going to be an inquiry, and rebel against the instruction, or they still won't allow her to do it and she'll resign?
At this moment, her career, and more importantly, her reputation is in tatters.
Yeah.
It's over for her.
Yeah. Jess Phillips. Elon Musk has said she should be in jail.
Yeah, so I mean, he started all this off with that tweet.
Yeah.
But her career and her reputation is now over. The only way she saves it is by saying to Keir Starmer, you handed me a poison chalice here. We need to U-turn on this, because if we don't U-turn, I resign, and say why I've resigned. So I think I think that's what she'll do. I think she's too clever to realise if she does nothing, it's over for her. So I think she'll U-turn if she can, and if the answer is we're not U-turning, she will say I'm resigning, and she'll give a speech in Parliament about how she was set up and how she really wanted to do the inquiry. And this is another example of a white man stopping the protection of girls and women. She'll spin it all, and I don't think it'll take a year for this. She's got a month, 2 months max, if not sooner.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, very specific predictions. I mean, I was hoping for kind of broader, kind of global predictions, but that's fine. It's Jess Phillips and Keir Starmer. That was number two, was it? So we've got one left. Have we done 5?
Yeah. So
number one. Hopefully, this will be a pretty global, massive one.
You will this.
I'm quite excited
because this man was mentioned in the Heroes and Villains, and you were well impressed that I had him on my list.
It's got to be Trump then. It's got to be somebody of a global significance like Trump.
No, it's the Mayor of Greater Manchester, Andy Burnham, again.
You just couldn't let it lie.
He's my nemesis.
You couldn't let it lie.
He's my nemesis. I've got to defeat him. But he's on for a particular reason. He's on because the Labour Party are failing so much, and Keir Starmer is so unpopular that I've already said Starmer won't last a year. Andy Burnham knows he's got one shot left at being Prime Minister, and to be Prime Minister he has to be in the House of Commons. He's got to become an MP, and I think sometime this year he'll realise I've got to leave the Mayor of Greater Manchester. I've got to get to the House of Commons because my chance is going to come up, and this is the perfect timing because I don't have to stab Starmer in the back. Starmer's already got damaged. He's killing himself. I'm going to be the man in waiting, the heir to Blair, in waiting for this man to fail. My hands will be clean. I've not stabbed him. I've not attacked him. Because what happens is the people who normally stab a Prime Minister in the back never take power.
Correct.
So he knows that. So his hands are clean. It's all good, you know.
I think what upsets me about that, and you might be right on this prediction, it's just the idea that they are so calculating about what should be public service. Rather than actually thinking what's best for the country.
But they're career politicians. It's always
they're
like
just
this.
Horrible little people, aren't they? Just grubby little people.
So he will jump this year.
That's a great, very, very specific and very kind of small prediction. But
then I've got another prediction for me and you.
Oh, okay.
This is my gold prediction. So when we started this podcast, I think I had 2,500 subscribers. We now have over 28,000 subscribers in just under a year.
Yes.
That's what we and you have developed now. I think this time next year we'll have 100,000.
Wow. I'll be impressed to see that.
I'll be aiming for it.
So any new viewers watching, could you subscribe at this point?
Yeah, subscribe, tell your friends. Let's build a bigger audience.
Yeah.
But the comments we're getting now are great. You know, I mean, I'm actually. Oh, this sounds awful. I'm forcing myself now to find time to read the comments and reply to many of them, because
you should do. I think people like that.
No, I've been doing it now for a month now because someone commented that I just happened
Why don't you
to...
have a comment?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And my initial answer was, because I'm a busy man, you idiot. Why do you think I did that?
Terrible.
But then I went, oh,
Terrible to treat your audience like that.
I didn't type that. That's what I thought.
Oh, okay, but you heard it here,
But
folks.
then I said to myself, do you know what? He's got a point. These people are taking their time to watch us, to enjoy it, to then spend time commenting on it. And the least we can do is, I can't reply to everybody, but I should be able to read them and like them and then reply to some of them. So I've started doing that.
It's interesting. There's a guy called David Bisley that I watch. I don't know if you watch. I think I've sent you some of his.
Bisley.
Yeah, he's a kind of Christian, but kind of like us. He thinks the same way we do. But he responds to all his comments, and it's a nice touch.
Yeah.
Because I typed in and I said, "Is this AI?" Because there was an AI comment,
Right.
and he said, "No, it's not AI." Or we had a little chat about it, but it's quite nice that he does that. Takes the time. It's nice when some people take the time. Nick.
And I'm doing it. I'm trying to reply to as many as possible
just
now,
saying.
because there are listeners and they're giving us so much, and
Correct.
and you need to give more back.
Well, those predictions are really interesting. A little bit kind of smaller in scope than maybe I imagined.
You wanted world predictions,
Yeah.
did you?
And with that, I'll move on to mine. But first of all, the mole, as we call him. So we have a contact, ladies and gentlemen, who has his fingers in the government. Sounds a bit rude, actually, doesn't it? He has various sources in government and things like that, and he supplies us with confidential information on a regular basis.
And I think he loves being called the mole.
He doesn't look like a mole.
No, he doesn't. But I think he's there going.
Yeah.
The pub. I'm the mole.
They call me the mole. Yeah, like a little superhero. So this is his predictions. I'm predicting bird flu scamdemic.
Yep.
Which I think there's a bird flu thing happening in China already, isn't there? Lockdowns, more jabs, mass culling of livestock, global food and fuel shortages. And he's put, I can't think of any positive ones yet, though. That's what he said.
There'll be no more lockdowns.
I don't think there'll be more lockdowns. I don't think the people will take it.
Could never happen again.
Even less so now.
Yeah. The pandemic restrictions and stuff like that, there may be some localized restrictions, and there may be some tips and hints but wanting restrictions, but the days of that pandemic, those restrictions never come back again. They'll never come back in our lifetime. Culling of animals, they do that all the time, and so they'll do that again. Energy shortages and food shortages, no. Energy will just get more and more expensive. Food shortages, no, because we produce so much food. We have excess food in this world. 5 years from now, if we keep pursuing the net zero, we could end up with food shortages, because that people are going, oh, how does that affect food? Well, we saw it in Sri Lanka. To hit their net zero in Sri Lanka a couple of years ago, they had to stop importing fertilizer because it releases so much methane gas and nitrogen. And because of that, Sri Lanka couldn't produce enough food, which led to riots, which led to the violent overthrow of the government.
Because the people were starving.
People were hungry.
Yeah.
So that's what net zero did there. But I think we may avoid that.
I think so, and I'll talk about that in my list.
Yeah.
What about more jabs? By the way, I've never asked you, Nick. I meant to ask you. Did you have the jab?
Yes.
I
had a jab.
How many?
2. For one reason only, so I could go on holiday.
I didn't have any.
Yeah, I wanted to go away.
I managed to get on holiday without a jab.
Right.
There were ways around it.
Right. I didn't know you then. Otherwise I wouldn't have had it. I had 2 to get my passport, and I went on holiday.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have another one unless again I had to go on holiday.
Yeah. I mean the evidence emerging now is horrific about what it does.
Yeah. I think they'll still offer jabs, and they'll offer more jabs, but it will now be like the annual flu jab. They'll suggest you have it. They might write you to have it. The days of coercion are gone.
I think a lot of people just won't have it anyway, even if they.
Lots of people will.
Yeah, I think a lot of people now aren't having their boost, because I always say, "Did you have a job? Are you having your booster job?" No, why not?
Yeah,
and they go like, because they're not stupid.
I also think
they are stupid because they had it in the first place.
Over the next few years, we'll start getting data about how the pandemic has damaged our confidence in jabs and vaccines in general.
Yeah.
So there'll be more people now not immunising their children on all these sort of diseases like used to, and because people are going, I'm taking nothing because look what happened. So I think they've damaged.
Yeah, I mean our red pill guy, the one you call the coward constantly.
Not anymore. He's not a coward anymore.
Oh, he's all right now. He will not have anything.
Yeah, he was a black pill.
Yes,
he was a coward when he was a black pill.
Yes.
He's now been red pilled. He's not a coward anymore because he's now fighting back.
I'll let him know later.
Thank you.
In fact, he just texted me a minute ago.
Yeah. I've got the gun. I just need to get sights on that Buckley's head now.
Nick got a bit scared because we went to a do, didn't we? And I said he might be turning up, so you were looking around. He doesn't have anything. He won't have any jabs. Yeah. Including, I mean, like the MMR. You know, he won't let his kids have things like. You know, he's totally like he thinks everything has got shit in it, basically. I said to him, I think he's gone a bit too far. So my I've read out the moles predictions. My predictions: Manchester United will start to re-emerge, and by that, before you say it's too general, Nick, I'll stop you before you have a chance to say it, because I know what you're like. I was about to. I think they will win 80% of their remaining matches.
Right.
You heard it here first, folks. After Sunday's performance, I think
you need more than one game before you start making predictions like that.
There will be a recession in the UK.
That's almost guaranteed. Yeah, that's guaranteed. I don't think you could put you couldn't place a bet at a bookies for that.
Did I say about any of your predictions?
No.
But it's a prediction, isn't it? It's just because you can't get a bet at the bookies doesn't make it not a valid prediction.
For people who don't know what recession means, it means 6 months, but every month in those 6 months, the economy of the UK declines. So we've had 2 or 3 months now declining. I'm just looking around the business world and speaking to people, and you're one of them, and nobody wants to invest. Everyone's going, we need to batten down the hatches because we're in for a rocky period, take no risks, spend as little money as possible, don't take on any new staff, and we just need to get through this period. That's not good for the economy.
That's terrible for the economy.
So a recession, absolutely, I can see.
People are nervous, it's happening. This is a very specific one I'd like to put forward. Anti-immigration sentiment will increase dramatically in the UK.
Right. I don't know where you got that idea from. I don't know where you got that idea from.
Yeah, but it's a prediction. Is it a valid prediction or not?
It's a valid prediction, but it's just a following on from what's been going on. To judge that, it would have to be the opinion polls are reporting that, IPUS, whatever they're called, all these polls that come out. But a good one would be the mainstream parties. If the Tories and Labour over the next year start coming out with tougher immigration policies and rhetoric, then I would go, well, yeah, because they're only doing it because they're listening to the people, they're trying to gain more votes. And so, yeah, if they start coming out with policies, I would say absolutely.
I mean, some of our listeners may not be aware that anti-immigration sentiment is increasing. That's why I'm just saying it will carry on increasing. That's what I'm saying.
It's a mainstream topic now. A couple of years ago, you couldn't really talk about immigration. Correct. A decade ago, you would have lost your job or been deemed a racist and everything. We can have these conversations now, and everyone's having these conversations now.
I think when we first started talking about this, we were quite nervous about saying some things around this because nobody was talking about it.
Yeah.
But over time, it's now something that everybody's talking about.
It changed with the Southport murders.
Yeah. This one's very specific as well. Disenchantment with all of the public sector will increase significantly.
What's the heading on this list? Stating the bleeding obvious.
When I wrote it, it seemed to be a lot more incisive and.
I get what you mean. So let's look at some of the organisations. So let's look at the NHS. Nobody would ever be banging pots and pans for the NHS anymore.
Correct.
COVID killed our view of the NHS as a godlike figure, as a religion. It killed it. Everyone criticises the NHS now because it's failing, and we all see it failing, and we all want better, and we don't know why it can't produce any better. There's going to be more strikes coming this year. Oh, that could be one of mine. But when we have strikes in the public sector now, the train drivers are going back on strike. After
you told me.
A 20% pay rise, they want more money.
Scandalous.
So they're going back on strike. But when these strikes happen, the general public
I won't mind, but the train service is crap at the moment.
And that's why the public will be against these strikes and will be against the public sector, saying to them, you're lazy, you're crap. Even when you're working, you do a bad job. What are you striking for? So you'll be able to judge all that from opinion polls and how the public react when we get new public sector strikes.
Okay, I'm scared to read out my next one. The success of Trump policies. Trump will be successful in the US with his policies. Yeah. And that, combined with the continuing, I'm making it more specific, continuing success of Javier Milei in Argentina, will increase pressure on the UK to change.
Yeah, another bleedingly obvious one. Forget Argentina. Argentina, different country, different continent, was a basket case, and he's turned a basket case into an okay country and economy. So we wouldn't take any notice of that. Trump's a different kettle of fish. So if Trump's policies work, which I actually think they will work, but if they work and they work quickly, the West, but especially UK, will be saying, that's what we want. Look what he's done with unemployment. Look at all the millions of... I watched him being interviewed the other day about the tariffs. And he's saying to all these big businesses, I'm going to put a 100% tariff on your products unless you build a factory in America, in which case it'll be zero tariffs. So when all those jobs flood to America, when everyone's being paid good wages, when their taxes are falling because they're raising so much money from other things, when they start drilling for oil and gas and we're buying their oil and gas, but we can't drill for oil and gas because it damages the environment, but we can buy their oil and gas. How does their oil and gas not damage the environment? So when all these things start coming through, politicians here will have to change. The public will demand it when we're looking at what's working.
Very good. Woke will start to disappear.
Woke has been on the decline since Black Lives Matter, very slowly. Started speeding up last year.
What do you think? I thought it accelerated after Black Lives Matter.
No, I think...
Because everybody was doing all that kneeling and all that jazz.
They were.
Including Keir Starmer and Angela Rayner, by the way.
Black Lives Matter, when we read the history books of this period of time, will be where it all changed. The death of the scumbag George Floyd and Black Lives Matter was when everyone started opening their eyes. Slowly, but started opening their eyes.
Really? I thought that was the point when it kind of took on an extra...
No, that went peak.
Oh, it's...
Because of that, we've been on the decline ever since.
Yeah.
But last year speeded up.
Yeah.
This year is going to tremendously speed up, especially once Trump takes over.
Yeah.
So he's going to kill woke and the LGBT nonsense in America, basically. And then that will filter to the UK as well, where we can see it happens there, so it'll happen here.
I have to say, do you watch the Squid Games?
No.
I have to say I was a bit disappointed. I watched the Squid Games. I watched the first one. I watched Squid Game 2, and there's one of the main characters in Squid Games 2 is a tranny.
And it's Korean. And the last episode we filmed, you said you watch Korean things now because there's no woke shit in it.
There's no woke shit in it, yeah. And unfortunately, one of the main characters is and he's not a bad tranny either, he's a good tranny.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's really noble and ex-army and all that sort of stuff. Bloke, obviously.
So there's good trannies and bad trannies these days?
No, of course there's good trannies and bad trannies. And I'm sure a lot of our tranny friends are good people and a lot of them are bad people as well. But what I'm saying is they couldn't have the portrayal of a bad tranny. It had to be a good tranny.
Yeah. Of course. Yeah.
Yeah. Because there can't be such a thing as a bad tranny on TV.
Exactly. So what's happened there is it's taken a lot longer for South Korea and Japan and those places to be infected by the woke virus. I remember at the beginning of the year you saying to me, Poland and Hungary, no woke stuff there. There is.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's reached there, has it?
But it's just not as much as here because it just takes a lot longer to reach those cultures.
But
and
it
stuff
won't.
Like that.
It won't. The tide has come in a bit there, but
Yeah.
it won't come in as far as it's come in here.
Because it's ending here now. Yes,
so
exactly.
It'll happen for a small period of time.
Exactly.
Okay. So yeah, woke. I think woke will start to. It just won't be as anything like the scale it is now by the end of the year.
No, I don't think it will.
Films and adverts will reduce the DEI content to the point where adverts will not be 67% with black people. It'll be down to 30%. I'm very specific here. This isn't a generalisation. So I think the percentage of DEI hires in films and adverts will drop from around 60-70% at the moment down to 30%. And when you look at Netflix, what you won't see is two white people in the background and a black person at the front who's in charge. It'll just be a normal balance back to actual representative of the population.
Yeah, that started maybe a year or two ago very slowly, but it's going to speed up. And we know it's going to speed up because of what's happening in Hollywood. Disney have just made, it's not been released yet, are making or have made a cartoon about something, and one of the characters was trans, and they liaise with the trans community in America about how it should look, how it should act, what its viewpoints were, and the trans community in America have just found out the trans character has been completely cut now from the film. They've kicked off because Hollywood and Disney are realising now, shit, we make no money on any of this and we need to change the way we work. So they're learning lessons. Netflix are beginning to learn the lessons as well. And advertisers follow trends. Adverts are made very quickly. So a film might take 2-3 years in production to come through. Hence why we're still getting some woke stuff now. Adverts are made within months because they're trying to sell their product. So their turnover and their connection to the public outcry and stuff is a lot sooner. So we will see.
That's an interesting point. We'll see that in adverts.
So we'll see adverts first. Yeah. apart from Jaguar.
But your argument for Jaguar was really sound. I thought that they came up with this idea 2 years ago, and they've been just stuck with it rather than change it.
Yeah. And same with Squid Games. That's why that trans character. They were, how can we sell this better in America?
Let's get
and this has been so many years in production, and they just happened to release it where everyone's going, we don't like trannies anymore. They're going, oh Jesus!
And I'm guessing now the professional trans baiters, like India Willoughby,
my friend,
your good friend Andy Willoughby.
Yeah.
I bet they're looking at the phone like this these days, aren't they? Like waiting for it to ring. Whereas it would have been ringing off the hook, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
2 years ago, I bet they're sitting there like, why is the phone not ringing? And then that means that when somebody like you sticks to, they've got time to lay into you, haven't
they? That's probably why. Yeah.
What did you say to him?
Excuse me, sir. That's fighting talk, right?
That is superb, Nick. That is brilliant. That is. What did he say when you said that?
Oh, I got a load of more abuse back. I should go to jail and stuff like that. So then I've applied to him. Lot of poor mental health going around.
So that's a very specific one, as I said there. This is again very specific. The populist movement in Europe will accelerate dramatically.
No shit, Sherlock.
These look good when I wrote them down. I don't understand what's happened in between me writing them down and saying them to you.
Can I guess your next ones? Yeah,
go on.
Some point in 2025 it's going to rain. This winter may be cold. So the populist movement in Europe.
You're not much of a motivator, are you? You know what I mean? It's like just I feel sorry for your ex-employee. Yes. So the populist movement in Europe will accelerate dramatically. Yeah.
So to judge that, we would have to see more populist politicians being elected.
Yes. So I'm predicting AfD coming to power in Germany.
Yeah.
I'm predicting Marine Le Pen taking a senior role in the French government.
Yeah. So if those things happen, then that would be groundbreaking.
Yes.
I wouldn't even be looking at those two big things because they're two big countries in Europe. I'd be looking at some of this. I'd take it on board if Austria government was a populist government, or Holland where they're all they're doing horse trading, or some of the other countries. I'd take some of the other smaller countries as a good sign that was happening. But it happened in Germany or France, then that's mainstream then.
This is very specific. It wasn't before, but I'm going to make it specific. Net zero target in the UK will be moved from 2035 to 2040 this year.
No, I don't think it will. I think...
That wasn't my original thing, actually.
That's because you're trying to quickly change things, like making them worse. I think this Labour government will stick to the net zero targets and the agenda. The government that replaces it will probably scrap it all. Because at the moment, the net zero stuff, the target is 2030 or 35, whatever. It's beyond their parliament, so they don't care. They don't want to be seen to cancelling that. They're already in enough trouble. They don't want to lose the Green vote and stuff like that. But the party that comes in next will not be able to keep those targets because it will be in their parliament. It happens. 2030 is no more petrol cars and diesel cars in the UK. That's 5 years from now.
Can't be right.
But that's their target.
Freaking insane.
It's like, that is insane.
I thought it was 2035 now.
It was originally... No,
perhaps our listeners could...
I think the Tories pushed it to 2035. Labour reduced it back down to 2030. I'm 95% right on that.
Oh my God.
But yeah, the targets are mental. But when a government comes in power that's closer to it, they will scrap the lot of it.
My final, very specific.
All right.
A major event will take place in the summer of 2025. I hope you're listening, listeners. A major event will take place in the summer of 2025, which will cause protests and riots across Europe, including the UK.
Very, very possible. If it's going to happen across the whole of Europe, it would have to be a organised attack by Islamists. Or, talking about net zero, or it could be a complete power failure across the whole of Europe. Or it could be Trump putting huge tariffs on all the products in Europe selling in America, which then bankrupts businesses. Or it could be, there's many reasons now I'm thinking about it, or it could be a Middle Eastern war.
Correct.
There's lots of things.
Yes.
The main one, the first one straight away is Islamic attack.
Yeah.
Bombs go off in several cities across Europe and in London. But that has to be coordinated and organised. But the people of Europe, the people of the UK especially, we've had enough. Mm. We're on the edge. Mm. I can sense it in the air. I'm talking to people who are the most sensible, fairly liberal people in my circle, and they've had enough.
Really?
And if I'm not saying they're going to be violent and go on the street, but if they've had enough, that means other people are more likely to go on the streets and be violent. And when you think about why they've had enough, crime out of control, nothing works, NHS doesn't work, government doesn't work, corruption everywhere, open borders, streets are not safe, hundreds of thousands of our children are being raped, bombs are going off, we've got politicians who seem to despise us. Our taxes are the highest they've ever been. We're going into recession. No one's got any money. No one's happy. Loads of people are antidepressants, and it's like this is a powder keg waiting to explode. And it just takes a spark.
And we're piling fuel on at the moment with what people are finding out about the grooming gangs, about the Pakistani Muslims, about the NHS, about the GP surgeries, about those foreign nationals. All that stuff now is in the public domain. And people are like, what the frick is... Because this has all been hidden from us. I mean, you and I have been talking about it now for quite a while, and lots of other people have as well. But a lot of people weren't aware of it.
No.
So yeah, I think
And that was the big change of last year.
Yeah.
Was Twitter came to the fore.
correct.
With lots of information, and then people like the OBR for some reason started giving us information and never gave us before, and then people like the Robert Lowe MP started getting even more information, and now we're looking at stuff and we're going, this is where our money, I keep thinking we're a poor country, but
We're not poor.
Look at how much money we're wasting on stuff.
We have got loads of money coming in, and we are pissing it away.
Yeah.
Did we work out? Was it the last couple of episodes ago? Sort of 500 billion. We reckoned we could claw back into this country.
£2,500 per year per working household.
That's just what's been spent
On immigration.
Yeah. But we worked out
even more than that. Yeah.
We could get back sort of 500 billion. I think, which is phenomenal amount of money for people in this country. So we want our bloody money and our country back, don't we? On that bombshell, Nick Buckley, thank you for your predictions. your very specific predictions of 2025, and obviously thank you for mine.
Well, we need to remember them, and when they come true, remind me.
We get a little tick list.
Yes.
We get a little tick list.
Yeah.
But I think it's time now for me, you, and Shay to say thank you very much, Nick Buckley.
Thank you, comrade.